Want a soar? Get a mentor. Hey, it's Nina Carmichael, and we made these videos is probably because you're the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more, and you need a push by surround yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, my husband Evan Carmichael, and learn stop being your own worst enemy in life. Enjoy! Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1. Be your biggest critic and fan.
What do you say when you see yourself in the mirror? When it's just you, when you're all alone, it's just you see yourself in the mirror, what do you say? Do you say great things or do you beat yourself up? Most people, they might act confident and seem like they have it all put together, but secretly they're fighting their own battles, and at home, in private, the comfort of their own home, they're their own worst enemies. The secret is to be your own biggest critic as well as your biggest fan. The push you give yourself has to be from a place of love and potential, not lack and despair. So I recently posted on Instagram a little cartoon of me passing by a mirror, and you see my reflection in the mirror, and the caption says, "I love you." And then I challenge people to say, hey, what do you say to yourself when you look in the mirror? And giving them an 18-day challenge to say, every time you see a reflection of yourself, to say something positive, whether it's I love you or give yourself a compliment, something positive, because I think most people live in the land of negativity. All we see is all the negative things that we're doing and all the things that didn't work out and things that could have been better. And that can actually be very healthy. I think you need to be your own biggest critic. I think you need to have higher standards for yourself than what you're currently doing. But it only works, being your own biggest critic only works when it's based off a foundation of love. When it's based off a foundation of I am an amazing human being and I love myself and I suck at all of these skills. The problem that most people have is you see that you suck at a skill, that you didn't get the result, that you're not good on camera the first time you go out. You didn't get the result, you didn't land the sale, you didn't make the deal, you didn't get the date, whatever it is, you didn't get the result, and then you think that you suck as a human because you don't have the skills. It's the opposite. You're amazing as a human. It has to be from a foundation of love, that you love yourself, and that you suck at the skills. And then you can beat yourself up over how do I get better, how do I improve, how do I acquire the skills, how do I move forward towards my goals. Most people are their own biggest critic, but they're not their biggest fan, and I'm gonna give you a 3-step process on how to change it. Step number 1 is take the 18-day FlexTheX challenge. So if you wanna go to evancarmichael.com/flexthex.pdf, you can get the same calendar that I use. It's not here, it's somewhere, it's in my bedroom, so where I usually keep it. And every day for the next 18 days, you challenge yourself that whenever I see myself, reflective surface, a mirror, the cell phone, whatever, I'm gonna say something positive to myself. In fact, just make that your cell phone background. And that when you see your login screen or your home screen on your cell phone background, on your desktop, it says something positive about you. And it's a reminder, I have to say something positive about myself. Just for 18 days, try it. FlexTheX challenge, why 18 days? Because it takes at least 18 days to build a habit. Science says that it takes 18 to 254 days to build a habit. It's why I have my 254 series, because I'm there with you every step of the way. And the average is actually 66 days of consecutive action. It means no time off, no days off to build the habit. But the minimum is 18 days. So just try it for 18 days. Just try it. What's gonna happen in 18 days? The worst is you're saying something you don't believe about yourself for 18, you can handle it. You'll be okay. The best case scenario is you actually start to love yourself a little bit more. And the things that you can do when you believe in yourself and you love yourself are tremendous. So step number 1 is take the 18-day FlexTheX I Love You challenge. Step number 2 is being your own biggest critic as well as your biggest fan. You need to do both. And so ask yourself, the criticism that I'm giving myself, when I look at my videos, when I look at my content, when I look at how I'm handling my team, when you look at all the things that you're supposed to be doing, that you are doing on a daily basis, and you beat yourself up, identify the parts that are just a skill set, that you rock, that you're amazing, that you're the best, but you just don't have the skill set yet. And how do you fix it? How do you acquire the skill set? Through more practice, through more research, through modeling success, that you can get there. So split it up. Having that cognitive ability to say, I'm being hard on myself, but really it's just a skill set that I'm lacking and I'm awesome, makes a big difference. So start doing it today. And step number 3 is kick yourself forward, not down. This often comes when you're comparing yourself to others. You're comparing yourself to somebody else who's in your field, who's ahead of you, or somebody who you went to high school with or university with, and they have a bigger job than you, or making more money and have more kids, or whatever it is that you're jealous of. You kick yourself down. You say, I suck. Well, they're off doing this, and they acquired this by the time that they were your age, and you suck. You're not doing anything. You're nowhere close, right? That's kicking yourself down. That's not helpful. What you need to do is kick yourself forward. What you need to do is look at that and say, that's what's possible. That's the potential. That's what you can be capable of doing. But here's the thing. I think you actually need the kick. I think the comparison is good. I think it's healthy. I think the problem with the comparison is you're only looking at it from the negative because you actually don't love yourself yet. You have to build that up, right? Do the 18-day FlexX challenge. It's based out of love to say that this is what's possible. Because without the kick, without the comparison, you stay where you are. The key though is you're kicking yourself forward to say that's what's possible. That's what I want to create. Somebody else has done it. I can do it too. I've got Michael Jordan level talent. I'm going to go off and crush it instead of kicking yourself down and saying that you suck and you're never going to get there.
Rule number 2, make proper decisions.
You need to make the big decisions in life with your heart and the small ones with the head. Big decisions with the heart, small ones with your head. Why? Because your head only understands a world that currently exists. It's logical, it's practical, it keeps you safe. But your heart can create something new that hasn't existed before. It's why the number one rule for success is follow your passion. All progress depends on what your heart tells you to do, and then you use your head to figure out how to execute it. So I just got back from an event that I was keynoting in Florida, and I was meeting these 2 entrepreneurs and helping them with their YouTube channel. And one of them is a really logical, head-first guy, and the other one is a more heart-based, passionate guy. And they were asking me, so they're partners in the same business, and they're asking me, what's more important, logic or emotion? Logic or emotion? And they're obviously the guy who's logic-based thinks logic is the most important, and the guy who's emotion-based thinks emotion is most important, right? You want to think that what you're great at is the most important thing. And I told them it's macro emotion, micro logic. Macro emotion, micro logic. You need to do both. So as I'm looking at their YouTube stats, I'm going deep into YouTube. I'm telling them all the data they need to know. I'm looking at the numbers and explaining your audience retention sucks here, we need to fix it. The percentage of subscribers coming to your channel is too low. All of this stuff. We're going deep into all their analytics. I can talk numbers for days. I love numbers. I love making data-driven decisions. But it's not the macro. The macro is the heart. The macro is, why are you on YouTube, right? Why am I on YouTube? Why am I making videos? That's the macro. And then you use your head to figure out the how. The science of the thumbnails and the audience retention and the playlists and the titles and all of the micro strategies that you can use on YouTube to grow. But it's macro emotion, micro logic. And so as I was explaining it to him, as I said, listen, it's macro emotion. He said, but I was listening to you as you were explaining things to me. It was very logical. Like, yes, the tactics were very logical. But the delivery so that you would understand it and then go home and actually apply it is emotion. It's not logic. It's emotion, because logic can be everywhere. The answers can be everywhere. You know how to lose weight. You stop eating junk. You know how to get fit. You start working out. You can find it, but why are people not doing it? Because you haven't connected emotionally. The reason why you understood what I was saying and you're willing to take action is because of the way that I delivered the information to you. Because I had you control the mouse and go through and do it yourself. Because I was encouraging to you when you needed it, and I hit you in the face when you needed it too. Not with my hand, with words, right? It's macro emotion, micro logic. You need both to win, but just recognize the situation that you're getting into. Your big decisions with the heart, and then you use your head to figure out how to do it. So it's common when you come up with a new idea for something, you make a list of pros and cons, right? And that's your heart often talking against your head, where you have this giant list and you say, well, these are all the reasons not to do it, but there's only one reason why I want to do it. And so if it's 10 con and 1 pro, what do? If you just look at numbers, you go for the con, but maybe the one reason why is you just love it. When your head and your heart are working together, it's easy. When your head and your heart are opposite, that's when it slows momentum. That's when nothing happens, because you want to do it, but it doesn't make sense to do it. You really love it, you have to do it, but there's no practical, logical, safe sense to do it. You need to get them aligned. Your heart needs to say, listen to me, brain, we're going. Now help me figure out how to get there. We're jumping. Now let's figure out how to make our parachute on the way down. That's how it is. Big decisions with the heart, small ones with the head. I'm gonna give you a 3-step process that will help you. Step number 1 is use the fear of regret. The thing that can jolt you into action is to use the fear of regret. Imagine yourself 90 years old looking back on your life, and this moment right now is the pivotal moment. What happens right now, this decision you're about to make right now will change the entire course of your life. What will you regret least? Right? And then go do that one. Or what will you regret more if you don't do it? Right? And then go do that one. Because the fear of failure, the fear of judgment, the fear of what other people are gonna say, all goes away when you can extend the timeline out. When you imagine that you're 95 years old, then this decision right now will set the course that if you decide to do the small thing, the safe thing, and then you hate your life for the rest of your life because you're worried about what your mom was gonna say, it puts it into perspective. It makes the future pain so big that it forces you to act. And so whenever you're faced with that decision, ask yourself, what am I gonna regret if I don't do it? Step number 2 is pay attention to what excites you. And this is especially when it doesn't make sense. What excites you? What makes you wanna go? What makes your heart beat? Like, what makes you get up and wanna move? Oftentimes, it's not the thing that makes the most sense. Because again, your heart can create a world that does not yet exist, but your brain only understands a world that currently exists, so it keeps you safe, logical, and practical. So pay attention to the things that excite you. Think about the last time you were really excited. What happened? What led to that? Now, how can you attract and bring more of that into your life? A great example for me is when I took over Toronto Dance Salsa. When I started salsa dancing, it didn't make sense. I'm tall, I'm learning as an adult, I take big steps, I don't speak Spanish, I don't understand the music, all of these cons. I just liked it. It excited me. Right? I wanted to go back, I couldn't wait for my next lesson, even though there are all these things against it. Practically, it made 0 sense. And now I own the largest salsa dancing studio in Canada, maybe North America, because I liked it. So pay attention to the energy, pay attention to the activities that you're doing that even if they don't make sense, you love doing, because if you keep doing work that you love, you'll get good at it and you'll become top in your industry. And then step number 3 is you quit when you don't love it anymore. People ask me, when do I quit? When do I give up? There's all this advice, never give up, never quit. That's not true, you should quit a lot, but you quit it when you don't love it anymore. You give up on it when it's driving you nuts. A lot of entrepreneurs stay in the business for too long, even though they don't like it anymore because they don't want to quit. But you will never win doing work that you hate. If you haven't found success yet and you still love it, you have to keep going. You have to keep going, or back to rule number 1, you will regret it. If you quit too soon, if you felt like you quit too soon, you gave up a little too soon, you're gonna regret that your whole life. But if you've already grown tired of it, even if it is making money for you, then find a way to sell it or find a way to get out of it, because you should be doing work that makes you come alive, that gives you energy, that you love. That's the only way you're gonna make a difference.
Rule number 3, find your who, why, and how.
Humans are built to serve. You want to help people. It's hardwired into us. Serving other people touches the same part of our brain as eating food and having sex. You need it. But how do you serve? What is your purpose? How do you find your passion? I'm gonna answer that in this video. So earlier this year, I went across 90 days, 23 cities across the US on a tour, speaking tour. And in my head, my plan was to talk about how to overcome judgment, how to take the 2% difference and just start acting on your ideas. And I had this template for what I wanted to talk about. And as I started getting more questions, the single thing that came up over and over and over again from 23 different cities across the entire country, from Pittsburgh to San Diego and back, was how do I find my purpose? What's my passion? What am I supposed to be doing? And in every single city, I had to walk people through this process. And because it became so important, I started to write a book on it, because I basically went through interventions with people where I had them stand up and had them go through a 3-step process that I'm gonna walk you through in this video in a minute. And they got a result. And suddenly, after years or decades of no clarity, they had clarity on what they should be doing and what their purpose was, what their passion was, and what their path forward was. Step 1 is who, step 2 is why, and step 3 is how. So let's start with step 1. It's your who. It's your most important core value. Humans are built off of core values, and there's one that's more important than all the others. If you had to decide what is your single most important core value, what is it? You may not know exactly, but you're gonna get pretty close. Just go down this thought exercise for now. What is one important core value that you hold, that if people around you were the opposite of it, it would be toxic to you? It's important to figure out, because When people don't know what their most important core value is, you get pulled into a whole bunch of different directions. You get pulled to follow somebody else's purpose, somebody else's mission, and settle for it. But what you're settling for is crumbs. It's crumbs of purpose because it's their purpose that you're just kind of helping instead of you actually living your purpose. It makes a massive difference. It starts with what is your single most important core value. And you can look at that by what are all the things that have made you come alive in the past, the people you love, the relationship that worked out, the thing you learned from your teachers the most, why you love those people so much is a common thread. And when you figure that out, it allows you to build a better life and business going forward with intention around your most important core value and bringing people alongside your mission to support you. So you're working with the people who are like-minded instead of having a random assortment of people who might have great skills with different values and it doesn't work out. Step 2 is your why. This is your purpose. Your purpose comes from your pain. Your purpose comes from your pain. Think about the most painful moment you had growing up in your past. It doesn't have to be from 8 years old. Maybe it was something that happened 2 years ago. But the most painful moment in your life, what was it? Where you felt not physical pain, but emotional pain. That you felt worthless as a human being. When did you feel the most worthless as a human being? That moment. Helping other people is built into you, right? Humans are built to serve. But helping people who are exactly like that will be the people that you love helping for the rest of your life. Because whether that was 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 20 years ago, let's just say it was 5 years ago for this example, the person who you were 5 years ago, you've grown a lot since then. You may not be out of the woods. You may not have figured it all out. You're still on your journey. You're still learning and growing, and you never want to stop learning and growing. But you're way better than you used to be. You're way better than you were 5 years ago. Now, there's a lot of people who are exactly who you used to be 5 years ago, and they're struggling, and they need help, and they need guidance, and they're afraid, and they don't know what to do. You can help them. Just like the version of you right now could go back 5 years and help the person who you used to be, there are a lot of people who are what you used to be. They currently are what you used to be. You can help them. And helping them, it's not just a matter of you can. It'll fill you up. It'll never get old for the rest of your life. Your purpose comes from your pain. And then step 3 is your how. This is your passion. So how did you get out of it? How did you solve the problem? Again, you might not be totally out of the woods. You're still learning and growing. Amazing. But you've learned a lot since the person you were 5 years ago. How did you get out of it? What did you do? Was it watching YouTube videos? Was it meditation? Was it getting in shape, eating better food? What was it? What did you do? What did you do to save yourself? That was not a random occurrence. That was not something that can just work for you. That's a recipe that you can apply to help other people as well. The path that you took to get out, or at least get a little bit better than where you used to be, is something that is teachable that you can help other people with as well and give them hope and give them momentum and give them confidence. And again, that will fill you up for the rest of your life.
Rule number 4, do difficult things.
You love difficult things. You do. Difficult things are amazing. Difficult things are the best. Difficult things are the only way that you grow. Think about it. What's the opposite of difficult? Easy, safe, inside your comfort zone, boring. The single greatest thing that you can ever do for your confidence is teach yourself that when things get difficult, you don't shrink down, you rise to the occasion. So in my keynote presentations, I used to always use slides as well. I had PowerPoint up and I wouldn't read the text off of the slides, but I have a picture and I tell a story about it, and it would always keep me focused on where my presentation was going. And then I got offered to do a speaking gig in Paris. I was the keynote speech at this big event for this software company, and I was gonna close the show for them. And I had this idea in my head that, what if I didn't do slides? What if I spoke on stage for, I forget how long, 45 minutes to an hour, closing keynote, and I just had one slide, and it was a picture of a rabbit, because I was telling a story about trying to teach a rabbit to climb a tree. And it scared me. I thought, it's difficult. And because that's what I thought, then I had to do it. Because in my head is, well, what if I don't remember where I go? What if I forget the stories? What if I lose track of where I'm at and I'm sitting here on stage, the closing keynote, been paid all this money to come, and I just suck? And because that was the reason, then I had to do it. I had to do it. And so I said, I'm just gonna have one slide. And when the tech team said, hey, what do you want to show on screen? Here it is. It's just one slide. Yep. No videos. Nope. No audio. Nope. One slide. That's it. Put that up. And I practice and I practice and I practice. And because my greatest fear in the world is disappointing people, I probably over practice and had my speech down, and I went and crushed it. But even if I didn't, It was the willingness to try. It's the willingness to do difficult things. That as soon as you feel yourself playing potentially small based off of something being difficult, that means it's go time. That means you have to do it. Because teaching yourself that you think of something that's big and scary and then you crouch down and you shy away and you don't do that, that's an ongoing lesson that you are teaching yourself that you suck. You're telling yourself, if I went and said, what about doing just one slide in France, right? For my Paris keynote. What if it's just one slide and I'm scared of it and I don't do it? I'm teaching myself that I suck. That's what you do. Anytime you approach something big and you don't do it, you're telling yourself you're not capable. You're telling yourself that you suck. And so everybody else might let you off the hook. You may not even tell anybody else about this crazy idea that you have, but you playing small is not acceptable. When something is difficult, you have to attack it head on. Now I've got a 3-step process that I think will help you take on difficult challenges. Step number 1 is watch your language. Anytime you hear yourself saying difficult, scary, or hard, that means it's go time. Why are you not doing the big things in your life? Well, it's difficult, it's scary, it's hard. That's not an acceptable answer. Nope, not anymore. Not for you. You love difficult. You do scary. You embrace hard. It's the best, all of it, right? So anytime you hear yourself talking your thoughts, in your head while you're not doing something, or you actually hear it coming out of your voice, you can even tell your friends, your family, your coworkers, the people around you, say, anytime that I say difficult, scary, or hard, I want you to catch me. I want you to grab my arm and say, you just said scary. And use that as a trigger. Go time. This is go time. Because most of the things you're afraid of are just disappointing people. It's failing in front of people. It's your thing not working out. Yes, don't go jumping from your balcony because it's scary, right? Like, be safe. But most of the things that you're afraid of are not actually life-threatening. Most of the things that you are afraid to take on are not actually life-threatening. And so it's go time. Difficult, scary, hard, not acceptable anymore in your vocabulary. When you hear yourself say that, think that, feel that, you have to go take action. Step number 2 is tell yourself that this is just a warm-up. Anytime you are facing a difficult situation, remind yourself, this is just the warm-up. When you feel like you're stretched to the max, when you feel like you can't handle anymore, just that mindset shift to say, this is just a warm-up. I'm capable of way more than this. This is not my max effort. I can do better. Puts you in a state of resourcefulness that will allow you to do more. People use this in the gym as an example. So when they're going to the gym and they're pushing weights or they're on their bike, when they feel defeated, when they feel that it's over, if you just tell yourself, this is just a warm-up. This is just a warm-up. I can do way more than this. What it does is it tricks your brain. It allows you to push an extra set. It allows you to go an extra 5, 10, 15 minutes on the bike. It allows you to push harder because you're telling yourself that you're capable of more. The same thing applies to your business goals, to your personal goals, to your life. When it's getting difficult, when you're on stage and your PowerPoint dies, when you're faced with this crazy situation that is outside your control, tell yourself, this is just a warm-up. I'm just getting started. I'm capable of way more than this. And step number 3 is it's the best. Because difficulties actually are the best. Because that thing that you're struggling with so much will become a story. Will become the thing that you tie your identity to. Mel Robbins being on stage in her PowerPoint failing and then having to do 5 extra minutes without any power becomes a story. It becomes the best. The challenges that you go through become the best, become the path that you can then help other people through. Humans are built to serve. Well, how are you going to serve? You're going to serve the people who are facing the same difficulties that you faced. And so without going through difficulties, you're not going to be able to serve to the fullest capacity. And so the challenges that you're going through right now are the best. You want the challenges. You don't want the boring life. And so teach yourself, this is the best. This nasty problem that I'm going through right now that I wouldn't wish upon my enemy, I wouldn't wish upon, anybody in my life, it's the best. Let's go. And it may not actually be, the best right now, whatever you're dealing with, but even just that mindset trick to say, this is the best. It puts you in a state of resourcefulness so that you can go handle the problem, so that you can make yourself proud, because that negative, toxic, difficult situation that you are facing right now will define you. Will define you. Either you succumb to it and you never get back off the mat and do it again, or you rise above it and then you help all these other people rise above it as well. Also, if you want to have more self-confidence and self-belief, I've designed a special free training to help you do it. The science says it can take up to 254 days of consecutive action to build a new habit. And I want that for you. I want you to build the habit of self-belief. So what I'm going to do is email you every day for 254 days a link to an unlisted video that will shift
your belief forward. To get on it for free, the link to join is in the description below.
Surround yourself with greatness. If you want to be more confident, you need to surround yourself with things that make you feel confident. Smash all of those things together, because that's the unique thing that only you can do.
Because your book has come out, it doesn't mean you should stop marketing. It's not just about week one when it just comes out. It's constantly marketing, 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 marketing.
Rule number 5, raise your environment.
Your environment has been perfectly created to keep you exactly where you are. Everything around you, your friends, your family, the media you consume, all keeps you exactly where you are. If you want to raise your standards and raise the quality of your life, it starts with raising your environment. So here's a story I haven't told in a while. When I was building up my YouTube channel and I closed my first multi-year deal with a big brand, it was with a CEO, high-powered CEO, one of the largest companies in the world, especially in the entrepreneur space. And it was going to be me and him on my channel every month answering questions from you guys, from the audience. We did a live stream every month. And it wasn't me interviewing him or him interviewing me. It was both of us talking about a certain topic and then taking questions. And I remember driving with my dad. He was getting a new car and we had this long drive out. For whatever reason, the place where we wanted to buy the car was super far away. And so it gave us this chance to talk in the car. And I just told him about this new deal that I had signed. I remember him asking me, Evan, what gives you the confidence to feel like you're on the same level as this guy? And he didn't mean it in a negative way. It was in a more awestruck way. It's like, man, look at where you've come from, because my family is very humble. Like, you have to be very humble. You have to appreciate what you've got. And so how am I now? How do I see myself on the same stage as this high-powered CEO, being his equal, answering questions? And the question took me aback. And I thought, you know what? He's right. I mean, if this was Evan of 5 years prior, I would have felt not worthy. I would have felt like I couldn't do it. I would have felt like this is too big an opportunity for me. Like I couldn't be the guy to do it. So what changed 5 years ago to where I was at that point? It was my content. It was my channel. It was all the videos that I'm putting up. Because in my head, it was a big deal in that this is the largest deal I had signed for 3 years. But more that I'm around Oprah every day and Dan Pena every day and Kanye West every day and all these people every day. And so I feel like I'm with them. And so this CEO deal wasn't that huge a deal because I had changed my environment, right? I'd raised the stakes in my environment, and that raises your standards. And so I realized, man, this is crazy how important my channel is to myself, at least to my own growth. If it's not to you, at least to my own growth, because you often can't see it on a daily basis. I could not pinpoint the one video I uploaded or the one day that I felt, this is it, it's happened. But if I look back over a 5-year period, a 1-year period, a 6-month period, even a 3-month period, think about who you were 3 months ago. If you're invested in yourself by watching these videos or reading books or anything else, if you're investing in yourself, even just look 3 months back and think, have I grown? How much have you grown in the past 3 months? You may not see it on a daily basis, but with months and then more months and then more months and then years, if you keep on the path, you'll see some tremendous results. You may not even recognize the person who you used to be. And that's why it's so important that you raise your environment. I'm gonna give you 3 ways that you can actually do it. Step number 1 is chart your start. And this is the importance of having a morning routine. This is what most people don't get. Everybody wakes up the same. I wake up the same, Dan Pena wakes up the same, Bill Gates wakes up the same, Oprah, everybody wakes up the same. The difference is in the habits that set them up for success. The difference is that most of America wakes up like an accident. And you pull out your phone and you're just responding to the emergencies, other people's demands for your time. That's what most people do. You wake up like an accident. More important is to chart your start, having a morning routine that sets you up for success. What is the thing that makes you soar? What is the thing that makes you feel bold, confident, alive? And then put that into your morning routine every single day. If you woke up and did the thing with intention that made you feel bold, confident, unstoppable, alive, you did that every day, I guarantee you, a year from now, you're gonna look back and be a totally different person. Chart your start with your morning routine. Step number 2 is build your bat cave. I'm a big believer in that the physical environment matters too. So it's not just about the habits and routines, it's the physical environment. It's what you wear. I feel like Batman putting this on. It's the expression that you have. It's the physical environment that you have. It's what's on the background of your cell phone and your screen, right? All of these things make me feel like a superstar. It's been designed with intention. Do it for yourself. This office might not be for you. You might walk in here and say, that sucks, I hate all of it. Great, it's not your office. People often write to me though and say, hey, can I buy the pictures that are behind you? Well, they're not for sale, but like this is me when I'm 8 or 9 with my parents. You want that picture hanging on your wall? Like build the thing that gets you feeling bold, confident, unstoppable, alive. These people all mean something to me. The Doritos bag means something to me. The awards here mean something to me. Even standing up at a standing desk, all of it's been designed. I built my bat cave. You're a superhero too. Build your bat cave so that when you walk into your office, when you go into the environment that you can control, it's inspiring, it's uplifting, it reminds you of who you want to be. And step number 3 is to use the words, tell me I suck. This is one of the greatest lessons that I learned in my life is whenever I'm going to talk to somebody who I think can teach me. There's somebody who I'm gonna meet face to face or on the phone or email that I think can help me in some way. I'll start by saying, tell me why I suck. Tell me why I suck. Tell me why I'm the worst. And the answer that always comes back is, well, you don't suck, but if you did these 3 things, you'll get better. So why lead with the tell me I suck? It's not because I like pain. It's because it gives permission to that person to be honest. Because most people can't handle the truth. And so when there's advice coming to you, most people will hedge it. They'll hedge the truth. They'll tell you a really soft version of it because they don't want to hurt you. They don't want to offend you. They don't want your feelings to be bruised. And so when you lead with tell me I suck, what it does is gives them permission to be honest because the only way you grow is through the honest feedback. And so the next time you meet somebody who can help you with something, whether it's your YouTube channel, your speaking career, your next book, you're giving them your manuscript, your painting, whatever idea you have next, tell them, tell me why I suck. Tell me why this is the worst thing of all time. Let me know, be honest. And that permission for them to be honest will give you the truth that you need to get better.
Rule number 6, get focused.
If you are not focused on your goals, you either don't want them or you are afraid of them. You might just not want to do them. You might be in the wrong thing. You might have picked the wrong goals for the wrong reasons. Or you're afraid of your goals. You're afraid of failing. You're afraid of it not working out and what that means. Either way, the answer is action. If you don't love it, move on immediately. And if you're afraid of it, move into it immediately. Focused action is always the answer. So one of the entrepreneurs that I've invested into, his name is Alex. He helps me run Toronto Dance Salsa, which is the largest salsa dance school in Canada, maybe North America. And we're sitting down reviewing his goals and reviewing his habits and making sure that what he said he was going to do matches to him accomplishing his goals. And there were a couple things that were big things on the list that he had to get done, and he was afraid of making a mistake. So for example, we're trying to create the interior of the studio and make a wall that speaks to the purpose of the company, speaks to the mission, the vision, what we're trying to accomplish. And we want to have something beautiful that people want to take their pictures on. And he's so afraid of getting it right. He's so afraid of doing the wrong thing that he does nothing. And every time he opens up the file to look at what he wants to do and different ideas, he's afraid he's gonna make a mistake. He's afraid he's gonna invest time, energy, dollars, my money into something that then when people show up, say, huh? And it doesn't work out. He's so afraid to fail that he doesn't take action, which becomes the biggest failure of all. So here was our solution. Procrastination Power Hour. Said every day, PPH, put it into your calendar for 1 hour. This is your PPH time, the thing that you have been procrastinated on, right? The thing that serves the business. If you've been procrastinating on it and you don't like it and it doesn't serve the business, great, get rid of it. That's not what we're talking about. It's the things that you're afraid of, the things that you don't want to make a mistake on, that you're just pushing aside because there's all this busy work that comes in. Because yes, we have to respond to customers, and yes, we got to do all the work that goes into the day-to-day of running the company. But if you're so focused on just the day-to-day and never focus on the things that will actually help you grow, the bigger picture stuff, then guess what happens? You never do the bigger picture stuff. Especially if it's because you're afraid, then you have to take action. So we planned a daily procrastination power hour that he puts into his calendar, and he looks at it. When he gets there, he thinks, what am I procrastinating the most on? And he's got this list and he starts attacking it. And having that in his calendar is the thing that actually started building momentum for those big projects. So I've got a 3-step process you can use to stay more focused and get your work done. Let's do it. Step number 1 is plan your procrastination power hour. You have to put it in your calendar. If it's not in your calendar, it's not going to get done. If you're just hoping that one day you magically get yourself, it's not going to happen. The things that you've been procrastinated on, the things that you're afraid to do, the things that will actually move the company forward that you've been sitting on, you have to put in your calendar. You've been procrastinating. It's not acceptable anymore. It's time to move on. 1 hour every day, dedicated, put it in procrastination power hour, and then make a list of all the things you've been procrastinating on. And that's the only thing you're allowed to work on in that hour. Don't check Facebook. Don't check your Instagram. Don't be answering phone calls. No interviews. Maybe you take a couple losses for your business. That's okay, because you're focused on something big that will catapult the company forward. Plan your procrastination power hour. Step number 2 is map your actions to your ambitions. So your actions have to map to your ambitions. What you say you want to do, what you say you want to accomplish, these goals, this vision, this great big thing that you have, that I know you have, because you're purpose driven. That's why you're watching this channel. You want to accomplish big things and have a big impact on the world. Great. What you say you want, are you doing the steps? Look at your calendar, pull it up, load it up, take out your phone, pause this video, and load it up and see, what are you doing the next week? How are you gonna spend the next 7 days? Look at the tasks that you've assigned for yourself, the meetings you're gonna have, where you're gonna be blocking your time, what you're spending that valuable time you have on. Do your actions map to your ambitions? If you did the things that you say are in your calendar for the next week, will that help you move closer to your goals? Success is habits. Success is what you consistently do. You are what you consistently do. Not what happens in these one-off moments. You could watch a video, get all amped up and motivated and be on fire and work, but then you fall back to regular life. That's not going to move the needle for your business. It's what you do consistently. So every week, it's looking at that calendar and saying, if I did this stuff, if I did these tasks, if I accomplished these things, I will move closer to achieving the life that I want and accomplishing the goals that I've set for myself. Your actions have to map to your ambitions. And step number 3 is chart your start. This is having a powerful morning routine that sets you up for success. I go through 5 S's every morning. The most important one is the 3rd one, which is soar, where I want to do the thing every day that makes me soar, that makes me feel like the work I do matters, that the thing that I do has meaning and value. Because I could have the greatest day of all time. Maybe I'm meeting an entrepreneur and it fills me up knowing that I helped them, but then I wake up tomorrow and it's like I'm starting over. Every day it feels like I'm starting over. And so you need that injection daily and ideally first thing in the morning. So whatever the thing is for you, if it's watching these videos, amazing. I have one for you every morning. If it's a 254 series that I have around confidence or self-love or motivational speakers, all of that, great. Go sign up. It's free. You get it to your inbox at 5 a.m. Eastern, I think, every morning. If it's reading a book or listening to a podcast or doing an act of service and buy the coffee for the person behind you in line every day, whatever the thing is that makes you soar, like you're bold, confident, alive, capable of doing great things. When you believe in yourself that you can do something amazing, that's what I'm talking about. Making that consistent and putting it into your morning routine, because if you woke up every morning and did the thing that made you feel unstoppable, bold, confident, man, I guarantee you your life is going to look dramatically different 6 months, 12 months, 18 months down the line. You won't even recognize the person who you used to be. But you have to demand it from yourself by putting it into your morning routine. Chart your start.
Rule number 7, be bold.
What would the boldest version of you do? Think about your mission. Think about your goals. Think about what you are trying to accomplish. You've got what you're doing now, but think about what the boldest version of you, if you summoned the boldest version of you into existence right now, what would he or she tell you to do? So when I did my tour earlier this year, it was 90 days, 23 cities. And at first I wanted to do it for free. I love doing free coffee shop meetups every time I travel to a new city. And I told my agent, Steve in New York, hey man, this is my idea. He said, you need to charge for the event. You gotta play bigger. You gotta do a bolder version of you. And it's freaked me out. It scared me because I don't want to disappoint people. And the idea of charging for something and then me disappointing people and then hitting that fear every 4 days, because I got up in a new city every 3 to 4 days for 90 days, was me being able to conquer my fears. And so Steve pushed me, and I have Steve's voice in my head. It's like, you need to play bigger. You got to do something bolder. What's the next step? And so I'm looking at my next tour coming up in 2020 around my book, Built to Serve, and I'm trying to think, how do I make it even bigger? How do I make it even bolder? Because what I've done has been great. And it's not trying to take away from what I've done. It's amazing. I'm proud of myself. I'm grateful. Awesome. And I know I'm capable of more. And I know I need to do something at the next level, because if I want to go off and accomplish my mission, I need to. Because at the rate I'm going right now, I'm not gonna hit 1 billion people. I'm not gonna solve the world's biggest problem. I'm not gonna have the impact and reach that I know I can have unless I demand more boldness, bigger scale from myself on a daily basis. And so for me, having Steve's voice in my head, having Elon Musk's voice in my head, having Steve Jobs and Ipa Giannini and my parents and Kanye West and Howard Schultz constantly in my head, the content that I make is for myself. It's selfish for myself, and then I share it with you guys, and thankfully you like it, so I can build a business around it and hire your team and keep creating more. What makes you bold? What makes you come alive? And how do you summon that creature on a daily basis? If you wake up and you daily, every day, consistently are bringing the boldest version of you, even for 1 year, if you woke up every day for 1 year and summoned the boldest version of you, your life is gonna look dramatically different 1 year from today. So how do you start playing a bigger game and being more bold? I'm gonna give you a 3-step process that I think is gonna help. Step number 1, what would the boldest version of you do? Just asking that question, just taking 5 minutes, sit down, grab your coffee, eat your breakfast, have no distractions, and just think about it for 5 minutes. What would the boldest version of you today do? What would you do? Look at your day ahead. Look at your plans. Look at what you've got up in your schedule today. If you were bold, if you summoned the boldest version of you today, what would you do differently? And then summon the strength and summon the courage and go do that thing. Step number 2 is think big and act small. Think big, act small. You have to think big because you're an entrepreneur. You've got big dreams, big ambitions. We want to change the world. You got an important mission, a vision that's driving you every day, right? I feel it. I'm connected to it too. I got a big vision that I never want to end. I want to chase it down for the rest of my life. But sometimes the big vision, yes, it is empowering and yes, it is inspiring, but sometimes it seems too big. Sometimes it seems impossible. Sometimes it seems like we're never going to do it without getting venture capital and partnerships and a huge team and all of these things. And then you stack it on top of each other and then you don't do anything because it's too big an idea that you can't do it alone. That's where you need to act small. Think big, big vision, but act small. Like what's the smallest, simplest, easiest thing that you can just do right now? It might be just picking up your phone and making a video. You want to have a YouTube channel? You want to build momentum? Create a video today, right now. And you won't know what you're talking about, and you won't have perfect audio, and you won't have the great lighting, and it will be garbage editing. Great. Because the biggest thing that's missing from you, from your mission actually happening, is momentum. You're a genius. You've got great ideas. That thing that's in here needs to be birthed, but there's no momentum. You're not doing enough on a daily basis to actually create that thing and get it out to the world. So think big, act small. And step number 3 is to understand that your bucket list is your excuse list. People walk around with a bucket list of things that they want to do before they die. The problem is you've given yourself until you die as your timeline. It's an excuse list. Look at what's on that bucket list. Everything on there is excuses. You've come up with stories as to why you can't do it. I just came back from speaking at Dean Graziosi's and Brendan Burchard's event in Phoenix, and there was a woman who was in front of me and said, "Hey, I've got dancing on my bucket list." She found out that I had owned Toronto Dance Salsa, and now dancing's on my bucket list. Like, don't say that. Your bucket list is your excuse list. And then she was taken aback, but then she looked down and she pulled up her dress a little bit, and you could see she had a broken foot or something wrong with one of her legs. I said, "Great." She's showing it to me as if, oh, now I'm supposed to understand your situation. That's why you can't go dancing. She showed it to me, and then I said, "Okay, can you march? Can you do this? Can you do this? Can you march?" She says, "Yeah, I can march. I can walk." "Great. Give me your hands." And I picked her up, and we started doing merengue. And I was doing all these turn patterns and making her move and turning around, and she had her first merengue dance. And then she realized, all I need is somebody to hold on to. I can dance. I just need somebody to hold on to. Don't wait until 5 years later, 10 years later, until you die for that bucket list to happen. Today, your bucket list is your excuse list. Stop telling yourself all the reasons why you can't do something, and if it was important enough to you, you'll chase it down. I'm passionate about this. I'm going to tell you one more story. There was one guy, same event, who says getting to the top of whatever mountain is on his bucket list. But he doesn't have the money to do it, and he doesn't have the time to do it, and all this stuff. And he's doing all these little things instead of chasing down his one big goal. If he hit the top of the mountain Everything else in his life would change, would be different. He'll come back a different person, a different human. All the things that he thinks are so important to him right now will not be important when he comes back. These little projects that are distracting him from doing the big thing that he wants to do will disappear. He'll come back a new human with a whole different path ahead of him. You have to figure out a way to get to the top of that mountain. You have to figure out, look at your bucket list and recognize that's just a list of excuses you've got there. Pick the thing that you actually care about and go chase it down immediately.
Rule number 8, feel the fear and do it anyway.
Stop thinking that you should be fearless. If you go through life fearless, that means you are playing small and not doing anything that is worth doing. You should be dreaming big. You should be pushing boundaries. And in that push comes fear. Instead of trying to be fearless, adopt the mindset that you want to feel the fear and do it anyway. Otherwise, you will never take on big projects and you'll never accomplish your mission and you'll always live below the potential that you know you're capable of. So I just came back from speaking in Phoenix with Dean Graziosi, Brendan Burchard, Eric Thomas, 1,500 people, amazing session. My greatest fear is disappointing people. My greatest fear is I'm gonna get on stage and bomb and disappoint the people who are paying money to be there as an expensive ticket to get in. And also I'm gonna disappoint Dean Graziosi and Brendan Burchard and people who brought me here to speak, right? It's their event. And I have to be the last speaker on the last day to come in and give them a good performance, right? I don't want to let them down. We've never worked together before. These are the thoughts that are going through my head. And so I'm backstage. And actually the first day I get there, I've got the next day, right? I've got my whole day ahead of me and I'm gonna speak the next day. And then I get a call. So I'm in my hotel room and I'm practicing. I get a call and said, hey, Evan, can you come down right now? We might want to have you speak right now. Let's figure it out. And in my head, it's like, right now? I thought it was going on tomorrow. I was in the middle of practicing. I haven't even gone through the second half of my speech. But the default reaction is, yep, I'm on my way. And I run downstairs to get to the event. They end up saying, it's okay, we want you back on tomorrow, usual time. Perfect, no problem. So now I got the whole night to prepare again. Now I wake up the next morning and I'm preparing in the morning. And then I'm getting down to the stage. And initially it was supposed to go on at 9 a.m. And then it got switched to 10 a.m. Then that got switched to 11 a.m. And then they want to take off 10 minutes of my time because we're running a little bit behind. So I'm 50 minutes instead of 60 minutes. And then changing my deck, changing the slide that I have. And then I'm sitting backstage and I'm waiting to come on and it feels like the MC's, he's building me up and he's taking lots of time to introduce me, like, just bring me on, right? And every time I'm sitting there worried, stressed out, afraid, saying that it's hard, this is difficult. I'm afraid. My heart's beating out of my chest because I'm still thinking I don't want to go up there and disappoint people. But instead of being fearless, it's like, no, I'm afraid. And this is the best because everything I want is on the other side of this fear. And I'm going to go off and I'm going to do the best that I have. And every new thing that comes at me, they kept saying, man, you're so easy to work with. You're so easygoing. Yep. Meanwhile, like, I'm panicking and freaking out inside. And it's not about putting on a show. It's not about showing people that I'm afraid. It's about me telling myself that I do difficult things. Some people say when you are nervous, tell yourself that you're excited because it's the same feeling inside you that when you're about to go on stage or have a big call or do something that you're afraid to do, you're nervous, tell yourself you're excited. I don't want that. I tell myself I'm nervous and I do things that make me nervous. I love that I do things that make me nervous. I build my self-esteem and self-respect and self-pride from jumping in on the things that make me nervous. You want to do things that make you nervous. And so I got on stage and did a pretty good job. We had a little miscommunication on the ending and flubbed it a little bit, but I get backstage and Brendan Burchard's running back like, oh my God, you crushed it. So much energy, I love that guy. And now I'm on to the next thing. And if there's nothing in my calendar ahead that is scary, difficult, hard, that makes me feel afraid, then I'm not growing. And you're not growing too. So I've got a 3-step process that I'm gonna walk you through that can help you step into your fears that I think will help. Step number 1 is understand what is your big mission. What are you trying to accomplish? What is the big mission that you're on? I want to solve the world's biggest problem. I want to spread more belief. I think the world's biggest problem is there aren't enough people who believe in themselves and their Michael Jordan level talent. That's what I'm helping every single day for the rest of my life. That is my mission. What is your big mission? What is the thing that you're afraid of doing? What is that giant thing? Right now, me stepping on stage at Brendan and Dean's event makes sense because I'm trying to spread my mission. What is your big mission? Number 2 is, what's the next step that you're afraid to take? If you want to go off and have a big impact, change a lot of lives, you're going to have to do things you've never done before. Because the way you're doing it now, the growth that you're on now is not fast enough. You're not going to hit your target. It's not going to happen. It's going to require a bolder, more confident, more courageous version of you. And how do you get that? By stepping into the light. By stepping into your nerves. By stepping into your fears. That's how you grow. That's how you emerge stronger. So what's the next step for you? Your big mission, you just came up with it. Step number 1, what's your big mission? Great. What is the next step that you must take to move that mission forward that you are afraid of? And then step number 3 is commit to doing it right now. Commit to doing it right now. You are not allowed anymore to think of something that's big, that's exciting, that is game-changing for you, that gets you pumped up and ready to go. You're not allowed to think of that and then be afraid and then not do something. You need to stop teaching yourself that you come up with ideas, then you get afraid, and then you don't have momentum, and you play small. You need to break that cycle. So we've just gone through it. You came up with your big mission. You came up with what the next step is. Now you need to commit to doing it. Commit to someone else that you're gonna do it. Make a video talking about it, send that email you need to send out, text the person that you need to text, post it to your Facebook or Instagram. Tell people that you're gonna do this thing. Commit while you're feeling it right now. And then feel your heart beating, boom, 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 boom. You're scared, you're gonna wake up tomorrow, it's like, holy cow, what did I just commit to doing? You're committed to doing the thing that you're a badass at, because you're chasing down a dream, because you have a big vision, because you don't want to play small for the rest of your life, because you're ready for this. That's why you committed. Now let's go.
Rule number 9, the last one before our very special bonus clip, ask for help.
Not asking for help is selfish. You might think that trying to do everything yourself is selfless, that it's wrong to ask for help and noble to do everything yourself. But you love helping people. You love helping others. Remember that joy you feel when you help somebody and brought a smile to their face knowing you made their week? By you not asking for help, you're cheating people of that opportunity to bring a smile to their face. Stop being selfish and start asking for help. I came up with this idea when I was at a video game cafe. So here's what happened. I was on a call with one of my big customers at the time, and I was in Los Angeles, and we're doing a Google Live, streaming to my YouTube channel, lots of people watching, YouTube Live, I'm interviewing him, and then the internet goes down. Like, what happened? The power went out across all of Los Angeles. The power goes out and it's down. I got nothing. The stream is still live, but I'm not there anymore. I left my client live on the stream, and he's not sure what happens. He just sees my camera goes down, and then he keeps going by himself for another 15-20 minutes, waiting for me to come back. And he's embarrassed, and it's awkward, and he doesn't know what he's doing because the host who has the audience there is now gone. And then eventually he just leaves because he said, well, I don't know where Evan is, but thank you guys for watching. And it put him in a really difficult situation. I felt terrible. I went back to watching the live stream after, like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. Now, it's out of my control. The internet goes down in Los Angeles. What am I supposed to do? There's no power anywhere. So as soon as the power gets back up, I message my client and say, hey man, I'm really sorry about that. Let's reschedule it. Let's do it again when I'm back home in Toronto, where I know I have stable internet, and I want to do it again for free, no extra cost. Even though we had almost finished the live stream together, we're gonna do a whole other one for free just because I want to make this right for you. Great. So we come back to Toronto. It's like a week or two later. And my internet is pretty rock solid in my home office. I've never had an internet issue really happen while I was doing a live stream, but I wanted to make extra sure that this time nothing happened, because if something happened the second time, it would not be a good thing. So I asked my friend Jay Rise, and I said, Jay Rise, I need a place that has rock solid internet that I'm gonna do this live stream and nothing can go wrong. And he said, I got a place, it's an internet cafe that I go to. I'll introduce you to the owner. I know him, and you can do it there. Like, thank you so much. So we go there. I'm there an hour early. I'm setting up. I'm talking to the owner. I'm testing the gear, my microphone, the headset, all of it, the camera, testing all of it, just to make sure that everything is working smoothly. I'm nervous because the last time it failed on us. My client comes on. We go live for half an hour, I don't remember, and it was smooth, perfect, no issues, crisp, amazing internet, blazing fast speeds. Great time with the audience, and we delivered an awesome product. Sigh of relief, right? I'm so pumped. I go talk to the owner and say, dude, thank you, man. It was perfect. No complaints, no problems. Thank you so much. How much do I owe you? And he said, well, you were on the computer for about an hour and a half, and Jay Raj was on the computer for about an hour and a half, but I'll just bundle it together. So I forget what he told me. It was like $5 or $7 or $10 or something. Like, are you kidding me? I would have paid $1,000. I would have paid a lot of money just to make sure that this went smoothly, because it's the relationship with my client at the time, right? I said, okay, well, great. Here's the $7 that you wanted. Awesome. Let me buy some stuff from behind the counter. Let me buy some snacks from my friend Jay Raz. Jay Raz was hungry. He needed to eat. So like, here's $20, $25. Let me just buy out a whole bunch of your snacks and give it to him. He's like, no, you don't have to do that, man. Don't worry about it. Like, no, I want to do it. Let me buy the snack. No, don't worry about it. The owner thought that he was doing a good thing. The owner thought that he was being selfless, that, hey, don't worry, but you don't have to do it, that just paying for the internet was enough for him. But he was actually being selfish. In that moment, he was being selfish because he cheated me of the opportunity of, one, saying thank you. I wanted to pay more. I want to pay more. You're cheating me of the opportunity to do it, and you're cheating me of the opportunity to help my friend Jay Rise and give him some food because he was hungry, so we had to go somewhere else. You need to be willing to bring other people in. You need to be willing to ask for help. Yes, you don't want to waste your time. Yes, you want to be respectful. Yes, but people love helping others. We are built to serve. You want to help other people. That joy that you feel when you help somebody out, allow it to come into other people's hearts too. And it only comes when you open up and you ask for help and you say, hey, I'm really struggling with this thing right now. And I could really use some help. And people may not be willing to do it. They may not have the time to do it. Don't be too pushy and don't be too overwhelming. But don't be selfish at the same time too. So now how do you do it? I'm gonna give you a 3-step process on how to ask for help and stop being selfish. Step number 1 is, what are you struggling with right now? What are you struggling with right now? Well, where do you need help in your business? Listen, entrepreneurship is rough, right? You're wearing all the hats. What do you need the most help with now? Whether it's strategy, whether it's a new skill set you need to learn, whether it's just taking off some of the operational stuff that you have to do in your business, right? The day-to-day, the grind is just overwhelmed with project work. What do you need help with? Number 2, who's an expert at that thing? Who do you know? Who have you helped before? Who's in your circle? Who is an expert at that thing? Who, by them spending a little bit of time with you, could make a really big impact on your business? Make that list. And step number 3 is reach out to them with love, appreciation, and 0 expectations. Explain the story. Explain how much this would mean to you. Explain why you're struggling and how you want to use this thing to get to the next level in your business, in your career, in your mission, in your vision, and then how they could be an important part of it. With love, but 0 expectations. If they say they're busy, don't be hurt by it. If they say, sorry, I can't help, that's okay. But reach out. Don't take the yes away from them. The problem when you don't reach out is you're saying no for them. When you don't reach out, you're saying no for them. And a lot of people would want to say yes to you. Now I've got some special bonus clips that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I want to know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week? When you just watch a video and you get motivated, the sign says you have a 35% chance of actually following through. That's not good enough, Believe Nation. We need to take some action. But when you watch a video, you get motivated and you create a specific plan of action, that number jumps from 35% to 91% chance of you following through. And when you publicly commit to other people, like leaving a comment down in this video, your number jumps to 95% chance of you actually following through on the plan you set for yourself. So I want to know your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week. Leave it down in the comments below so I can celebrate you. If you quit on something too soon that you still love, you will regret it for the rest of your life. If you don't love it anymore, quit. Move on. You will never win doing work that you hate. But if you love it, and you move on to something else, you will look back on this day and regret it for the rest of your life that you did not see it through. Most people spend their entire life living with regrets. Don't let that be you. The hardest decision I ever had to make in my life was being an entrepreneur. I struggled a lot with the decision, do I want to be an entrepreneur, and had this opportunity to make $300 a month and earn 30% of a company versus going to work at a job that I thought I wanted, a job that I'd been preparing myself for, that this is what I wanted to do. It was in my high school yearbook of this is where I was going to be. And here it was, earning six figures, traveling around the world, doing the investment banking that I thought I wanted to do, versus making $300 a month and owning 30% of a company. And the thing that allowed me to push through and be an entrepreneur was me saying, I don't want to live with regret. That I would rather know one fail than not know. And I gave myself a year. I said, I'm going to give myself a year to do this. I could always go back and get another job. It may not be the same job. It probably wouldn't be the same job. It may not be as much pay. It may not be traveling as much as this job was offering me to travel. But this entrepreneurial thing, this opportunity that I had, I never knew if it would come back again. Like I thought maybe this will never happen to me again. And so I decided to go for it. And we struggled and it was hard, but I never ended up having to go back and get another job. And so if you're at an inflection point, if you're thinking about which path should I take, A or B, lean in with your heart. Stop using your head. Your head only understands the world that currently exists. Lean in with your heart and ask yourself, which decision will I regret more if I don't do? And then go take that action. I became an entrepreneur because I didn't want to regret not having at least tried. And a great moment in my life came a number of years later where one of the people I went to university with came back and said, Evan, I went down that path. I became the investment banker and I hate my life. How do I become an entrepreneur? And I looked in his eyes and I saw the desperation and the sadness and helped him, but also was so grateful that that wasn't me, because it could have been. So how do you live a life not filled with regrets? I'm going to give you a 3-step process that I think will help. Step number 1, ask yourself, do you still love it? If you are making something, if you're in the process of creating your business and it's not getting results, ask yourself, do you still love it? It's easy to keep going when you're making money and everything's working, right? When you're at the high, it's easy to keep going. But when it's not working out, for me, when I was making videos and it wasn't working out, it's hard to build a YouTube channel. In the early days, I kept going because I loved it. Ask yourself, this thing that you're doing every single day, this thing that you're worried about leaving and quitting and giving up on, do you still love the process of it? Not just getting some result, not just making $1 million, not just getting 1 million subscribers, whatever your outcome is, the process, the work. Do you actually love the work? If you do, then you have to keep going. Step number 2, ask yourself, how can you keep going? How can you keep going? How do you keep the momentum going? The biggest thing missing for most people is momentum. You're just not doing enough on a daily basis. You stop and start and stop and start and stop and start, and people give up and they quit too soon before you allow that momentum to grow and to carry you. So how can you keep that momentum going? How can you do something every single day to move your mission a little bit forward? Not taking giant steps, but just a little bit tiny step forward every single day. Even if that means you have to go back and get a job. Even if that means that, listen, maybe you're out of money right now. Maybe you took a bet on entrepreneurship and you tried it for 6 to 9 months and now your bank account is dry because you spent it all. Great. Maybe you have to go back and get another job. 1, make sure that that job is something that you're going to learn from, not just make an income from. But then 2, make sure that when you're coming home, you're still spending 30, 45, 60, 90, 120 minutes every day. Don't let the momentum stop on your idea. And step number 3 is ask yourself, what will you do to sustain that momentum? What keeps you motivated? What keeps you going? Whether you're having pictures on your wall like I have here, whether it's watching videos like this on my channel every day, listen to a podcast, morning routines, you need to inject that into yourself every day. When you don't see the light, when you're not seeing the results, when it feels like there is no momentum, you need to demand that boldness in you every day. So ask yourself, what is the thing that makes you feel alive, bold, confident, that makes you want to go out and create and build momentum even when you don't see any light around you? What is that thing that you need? And then bring that into your morning routine. Demand that from yourself on a daily basis. Instead of hoping that you wake up all motivated today to go out and do work, successful people demand excellence from themselves on a daily basis because they put something in their morning routine that reminds them of what their mission is and how important it is to move forward.
If you want to learn the simple advice that will help you take action on your ideas, check out the video next to me. I think you're gonna enjoy. Continue to believe. I will see you there.
So right now I'm in the process of looking for a creative director for my business. Someone to look at all my content, suggest ways to make it better, to